Hi there folks, welcome to Dunsy's Guitar World. Just a quick word of warning here folks, another incredibly exciting video coming up, so please make sure you're sitting down. I cannot be held responsible for any accidents. So today's video is all about humbuckers, 4 different humbuckers. So recently I got a Gibson Les Paul Firebrand from 1981 for 20 quid. Best 20 quid I've ever spent. It came to me with Seymour Duncan blackout pickups. Just too hot for an old fella like me. So I changed them out to Tonerider Alnico 2s, which I like the sound of. I did a recent video on that. But I thought the bridge pickup was maybe a little bit spiky through Fender amps especially. So today's video I will be testing those Tonerider Alnico 2 pickups against 3 other humbuckers. The second humbucker is another Tonerider. I like Tonerider pickups. I think they're a good price point. I've never had any issue with them failing. So pickup 2 is a Tonerider Alnico 4 Classic. It's about the same output, PF type of output. Does it make any difference in the magnet, Alnico 2 versus Alnico 4? I don't know. Pickup number 3 is a bare knuckle, a bit more expensive this one. This is the Mule, a classic, and a PAF, not a huge output pickup. And pickup 4 is the big daddy of pickups, a double cream Dimarzio Super Distortion from I think the early 80s. This was gifted to me by my good friend Gordon. So today's video I will be using the same guitar with 4 different pickups in it through 5 different amps. I will put on screen what the amp I'm using and what the pickup it is. So they're all on the same guitar. I measured the distance between the pickup and the strings. I did have to do a lot of soldering and unsoldering, or soldering and unsoldering. So what I want you to do is, I guess there's 3 questions here. 1, do you hear any difference in these pickups? Do you hear any difference in the magnet or the Dimarzio being more output? Do you hear a difference in that? Second question is, if you do hear a difference, which one do you prefer? And thirdly, the most important thing for me, which one do you think is currently in the guitar? Is it the Alnico 2, the Tonerider Alnico 2, which was in it before? Is it the Tonerider Alnico 4? Is it the bare knuckle, the Mule? Or is it the Dimarzio Super Distortion? So please do listen to the sound samples, let me know what you think, and I'll be back after the sound samples and I'll show you what is in that guitar and why it's in that guitar. So you ready for this? The big unveil. Dun dun dun. He's gone for the 70s hard rock classic, the double cream Dimarzio Super Distortion. So why have I gone for this? Well, I have to say that I didn't notice a huge difference in sounds from the four pickups. I mean, there are differences, but I thought they all sounded good. I've gone for this one because when I'm doing gigs, I use a rented backline quite a lot of the time. Sometimes the amp isn't the amp that I specify. I normally specify a Marshall JCM 800. Sometimes it's not that. So I maybe need a bit more push on the front end of an amp. Now, the Dimarzio Super Distortion definitely pushes the front end of an amp. I mean, so many people in the 1970s changed their Gibson humbuckers out for this. I think these were released in 1974. So I've gone for that because I think it looks better. And I think for my purposes, playing through a valve amp, if I don't know what it is, I think it's good to have that extra safety margin of having a higher output pickups. Now, I understand, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I didn't use any clean amps in this video because I figured that if I'm playing a Les Paul and I'm going into like a valve amp, I'm pretty much going to be playing rock tones. And I absolutely agree that you can hear the difference in humbuckers much more when you're playing with less distortion through a clean amp. I think there's much more of a difference. Once you add overdrive, there's not as much difference between these four pickups. This one pushes the amp a bit more, so it's overdriving it a bit more. There's a bit more gain and stuff like that. So that's the pickup that I've gone for, the Dimarzio Super Distortion. Which one would you have gone for based on those sound samples? Do you prefer the more sedate tones of a PAF with an Alnico 2, or perhaps an Alnico 4, or maybe a Sandcast Alnico 4? Now, there is quite a big difference in price between the Toneriders and the Bare Knuckle. Bare Knuckle is probably the most expensive of these four pickups. You can pick up a Super Distortion, I think, for, I don't know, £130 or something like that. whereas you can pick up a full set of Toneriders for under £100. So let me know what you would put in the guitar. If this was your guitar, what pickup would you put in it? As ever folks, it's a privilege and a pleasure bringing you content on Dunsy's Guitar World. Cheers for now.